BCTV is the public access channel serving the small coastal city of Belfast, Maine. We reach about 1,800 cable homes and an unknown but growing audience of online viewers. By most standards, our $12,000 a year annual budget is considered very modest, but we seem to be able to make it work. How do we make it work? Well, that's what this video hopes to answer. For one thing, we have very little overhead. Our largest monthly expense are salaries. We pay about $200 a month to a person who works for us part-time, who downloads many of our non-locally produced programs, creates some of our station's interstitials, such as coming up next segments and other jobs that I, as a station manager, don't wish to do and can assign to her. Our next most expensive budget item is our rent, which is $175 a month. We have a tiny office above Alexia's Pizza, a pizza joint in the middle of town. This is my base of operations, and here we have a half dozen computers that keep our productions humming. We save on rent by providing $100 a month worth of production to our landlord, who happens to also own the local movie theater. I produce the ads that run before the movies begin, and we trade with local businesses to keep other expenses low. Our accountant, the local newspaper, computer repair service, the IT guy, all do trades with us. Our regular expenses include insurance, electricity, satellite subscriptions, and downloading fees. We spend about $9,000 a year on operating expenses, and that leaves about $3,000 for our equipment purchases. To keep our expenses low, we are not a traditional access operation in that we don't have a studio. We like to say that the world is our studio. Volunteers are what keep our station going. We have a dedicated volunteer who creates hundreds of public service announcements that run on our station. We have another volunteer who programs our server every day. And we have a volunteer office manager who does everything from writing press releases to mailing out CTEM membership certificates. I, too, am a volunteer program director. As most of you know, that means everything from making sure equipment is working properly, to training new producers, paying the bills, scheduling all our programs, and taking out the trash. But for most of my volunteer time, I spend it creating local content for the station. Although our station values the fine variety of non-locally produced programs as diverse as Perils for Pedestrians, Peak Moments, or Penny Dreadful Shilling Shockers, it is our local content that sets us apart from the other channels. I believe lots of diverse local content makes a great station. I have come up with some approaches that allow me to create lots of local content. I thought that I would take a week just ended to give you a look at my production schedule with some thoughts about how I make it all work. I began my week on a lovely Sunday morning, shooting another episode of Tai Chi Through the Seasons. This program relies on interesting settings as our sets. They are shot in one long take, and except for adding opening and closing titles and some music provided via a trade with a local musician, the show is done. It seems to have developed a sizable audience as it reaches over 2 million cable homes via Peg Media, a program sharing service. Later that day, I was up at the high school taping the YMCA Majors Soccer Championship. Sports are popular in our area, and soccer is easy to cover with a single camera. I recorded the awards ceremony so the kids could see their faces on TV. I did stop and start the camera a couple times, but still very little editing was involved. I do some simple graphics and add some replays, so the productions do have a pretty nice look. I was able to recruit a couple parents to provide commentary. I will be providing DVDs to all the kids as a souvenir. I don't usually do this extra bit, but my kids play on the team. On Monday, I spent 5 hours editing a piece for our local hospital. The hospital has a couple local shows on our channel, and I produce both of them. One is a senior exercise show, and the other is a monthly wellness program. This project is not one I do as a volunteer. I have my own production company, and I get paid to produce these shows for the hospital. It was a welcome break to head up to the middle school to film the Bus Line League Field Hockey Championships. The recently retired high school field hockey coach, who also happens to own the local florist shop, offered to provide commentary and lured me with a free load of compost for my garden in exchange for the filming. Once again, a single camera is fine for covering field hockey, but I must admit that it is much more challenging following those little field hockey balls. By the way, I didn't just run the camera in this case. I also handled some of the announcing chores. Thanks to recording everything I do these days on SD cards, I have no out-of-pocket expenses. Usually, that makes it easier for me to say yes to production requests. It also makes it much faster to edit a game. And it all is wonderful as long as it all works. I ask my announcers to keep track of when scoring happens so that it is quick for me to make scoring changes and add the replays. I have a standard graphics and music package that makes it so that I can edit a game in about a half hour. So I try to get the game edited that same afternoon so it can be on TV while it's still fresh news. Of course, in this day and age, I also have to upload the games to our website, post the games to Facebook, and send links to the coaches to distribute to their minions. Luckily, the computers do most of that work, and that is one reason I have 5 or 6, I think, computers in our office. Every other Tuesday, I go to our local animal shelter and record raining cats and dogs. This weekly pet adoption show is unique among our programs because we actually share the production with Knox County Public Access. They produce the program on alternate Tuesdays. Sharing the workload is most appreciated. I can record the show in about an hour's time, and it takes me another 15 minutes to edit the show. The shelter does pay me to create the programs, so once again I can't claim this is one of my volunteer productions. Later that day, I will send the program electronically down to the folks in Knox County so that they can air the program on their channel. But my day is just beginning. In the afternoon, I am doing one of my rare 2-camera productions. It's an election time special, and we have partnered with the Bangor Daily News to create a program featuring the local candidates running for school board. As a producer, I have discovered several benefits to co-producing a program such as this. The newspaper reporter is not only the talent, but she has lined up the candidates, develops the format and questions, so I can concentrate on the video production. Partnering with a well-respected local paper also adds journalistic credibility to the program. The newspaper helps promote the show. We record the interview in the newsroom, which is lucky for me as our office is right next door. The reporter chose to interview each candidate separately because it was difficult to arrange all 3 to be available at the same time. With today's editing program, it was a simple matter to edit this half-hour program together. Wednesday was supposed to be a very busy production day for me. In the morning, I had a children's show scheduled to be filmed. The show's called I Can Be Me, and it is shot at the local children's room in the library. When neither the show host nor any audience arrived, I realized something was wrong. Apparently, neither I nor the librarian had gotten the email canceling the show due to scheduling issues. Oh well, it gave me time to try to line up underwriters for the quarterfinal field hockey game that I was scheduled to film on Thursday. At 1 o'clock, I was in the field quite literally, filming 12 fresh episodes of Go Wild. Each segment is between 2 and 5 minutes in length. These are examples of short-form videos we show on our station. I recruited my former teacher and naturalist Chloe Chung to create these nature education videos. Throughout the year, we go and film interesting segments so that people know what's going on in the world around them. Zoe is not only a great teacher, but her enthusiasm for nature is infectious. And she is so well organized that we were able to shoot all 12 segments in a couple hours. I was so excited by what we had filmed that I edited the segments that very evening. To me, these programs take advantage of all the show and tell aspects of TV, and they encourage local couch potatoes to get some fresh air and explore their surroundings. Thursday was my busy production day. It began with my filming 2-hour-long lectures that are part of the local senior college's TV series, Senior College in Action. I have been recording this course entitled Midcoast, Maine Architecture. It is taught by 2 wonderful instructors, Earl Shuttlesworth, the Maine State Historian, and Chris Glass, a respected local architect and former Bowdoin College professor. These are very interesting programs with a local focus. I am thrilled to have this 12-part series running on our station. Senior College is also thrilled because I provide them with the link to the programs so that folks can watch the shows on their website as well as ours if they wish to. After Senior College, I made a quick trip to the Blue Goose Dance Hall, where I filmed the wraparounds for what is the closest thing to a reality TV show that we have on our station. Husband and wife, Dan and Elsie Andrews, are auctioneers, and they appraise a couple items, and later in the program we'll see how much they actually sell for at a real auction. I plan to film that auction this coming Saturday. This is another one of the programs I get paid to film. I came up with the show idea and pitched it to the auction company. They also pay to have me distribute the program free to Maine cable stations via PEG Media. My next shoot that day is in Rockland, where the quarterfinal field hockey game between Belfast and Oceanside took place. I had some local underwriters lined up, as well as a great announce team made up of the recently retired coach and a very knowledgeable field hockey parent. A quick word about underwriting. I provide 20-second live reads with simple character generator graphics. Each underwriter gets a read in the beginning and in the halftime. I had 5 underwriters, but I could have easily gotten more if I had more time to make phone calls. But it's been a busy week. The game turned out to be very exciting, with Belfast winning in overtime. Since I had a major production that evening, I was hoping to get home sooner rather than later. Fortunately, I got back to Belfast with a half hour to spare. This was the Mayoral Candidates Forum. I had set up the setting in City Council chambers the night before, knowing I had a crazy production schedule that week. This was also a 2-camera shoot, but with 3 candidates, a moderator, and audience microphones, the audio setup was a bit more complex. Once again, I had another media partner handle the candidate scheduling and formatting. I have also worked with this reporter a number of times, so I knew the program would run smoothly. Friday was spent editing and recruiting a videographer to shoot the auction on Saturday. As it turns out, the field hockey semifinals were taking place at the same time as the auction, and it's hard for me, with current technology at least, to be 2 places at once. I also had to work a couple of hours for one of my clients, so that helps me pay my bills, but doesn't really count toward my station production work. My only production on Friday was my weekly program, Somewhere in Waldo County. It is mostly an interview show with lots of B-roll. I try to think of what makes for interesting video. So, for example, some recent shows have included going along on a tugboat ride, learning about the professional life of a mariner and how a captain operates a modern tug. I visited a homegrown doll museum, visited the local roller derby team, and this week I paid a visit to Mad Science, a Halloween special put on by our local children's library. This program is truly a labor of love for me, as I usually spend about 6 hours a week producing the program. But I also think it is one of the more popular programs on our station. So now it's down to Saturday. I set up my camera at the auction and got my freelancer friend to record 2 hours of auction. I will edit 4 segments out of those 2 hours of filming. Just like the nature videos I recorded on Wednesday, I am able to produce programs more efficiently when I shoot several segments at once. I had the use of a backup camera to record the field hockey game in Newport, but it turned out to be a bit of a problem. When I returned from the shoot, I discovered my data file was corrupt. I spent hours with Panasonic technicians to make a major data recovery effort, but in the end, there were too many missing files to have something to show on TV. Fortunately for me, our team was trounced 4-0, so I don't think very many folks would have wanted to watch it anyway. Nevertheless, I did pay my announcer, and I was not able to bill the underwriters, so my wallet took a bit of a hit. So there you have it, a week in my life as a program producer. What I did not cover are all those little production details that need to be taken care of, from writing up copy, contacting athletic directors, revising the program schedule to make late-breaking programming adjustments for those last-minute sporting events. For me, the trick to producing lots of local programming is to keep my production simple, do the appropriate pre-production planning, think in terms of what works well for the visual nature of our medium, and choose subject matter that has a distinctly local focus. I hope there's an idea or two that you folks can use. Thanks for watching.